of the world, now I'm living. And the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
Hey, good day. It's Ann Perry, numerologist, and my guest today is Holly Poole, professional astrologer. Hey, Holly.
Hi there, Ann. Hi, everybody out there in computer land.
So glad to see you again. We've had some really positive responses to the last two videos that we've done. We've done air and we've done fire, and now today we're going to be doing taking a look at the earth signs. And this is going to be a great video for anybody who's an earth sign. We'll talk a lot of generalities around earth signs, but in particular, you know, my 11s are dear to my heart, and I always like to give them a little bit of something special. So we'll be talking about how the earth sign affects the master number 11s as well. So I think we start with Taurus, do we not?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you take that away then, Holly.
So I'm just going to do a little small overview of just the earth signs themselves. So we've got Taurus and we've got Virgo and we've got Capricorn. And just before coming on here, I was saying to Anne that I suspect it's the earth signs that perhaps feels a bit challenged from the 11 energy, because earth signs, just visually think about earth for a moment. It's deep.
Right.
You know, it's down underneath the earth.
Right.
So you're not going to find, for instance, earth signs who are risk takers. That is not one of the traits for a earth sign.
Mm-hmm.
They like their feet on the ground. They need to be really grounded. And more than anything else, if you're kind of working with an earth sign and they're trying to decide, you know, should I go this path? Should I go that path? First thing you got to get them convinced is that it's a practical thing to do.
Right. Right. Well, this should be interesting.
And yeah,
practicality is not one of the 11 strong suits.
Right. And often, as we talk about, you know, the 11s being the old soul, and I'm not always convinced that it's the earth sign that believes in the whole fate and karma, and that might be a little outside of their whole mindset, because is it practical?
Right.
To do that?
Right.
There are hardworking signs. They are signs that is out to make the money. Mm-hmm. They like to have their money over here. They know how much is coming in. So again, to convince an 11, an earth sign, to go into the new agey world, you know, the question is, would I be able to make any money doing that?
They feel to me, as I was studying a little bit ahead of time, they feel like a 4 to me, because they feel, you know, to say they're practical, they're grounded, they're kind of plugged in.
That stability, right? That 4 sides on a base.
And I would think security is the big thing with them, right?
That's right.
So they believing it is seeing it as believing it.
Yeah, and knowing it within.
Right.
You know, I know some earth signs who have even, you know, gone to see a medium, and the medium has talked about, you know, mom coming forward from the other side, and giving, you know, even messages to this individual. I think of somebody in particular who's a Capricorn, giving messages to this individual, and yet them walking away and going, but do you think that was real?
Yeah.
You know, they're not easy to convince. So let's start with the Taurus. Our Taurus is our fixed earth sign. We've talked about the cardinal, the fixed, the mutable, and all the other videos. And so Taurus is the bull. They are the fixed in mindset quite often. They are the stubborn trait. They are the sign that really worries about security. How secure does things feel? And Taurus is about possessions, what they own. You know, this is mine. This belongs to me. And so with that mindset, then, it really is about the fact of you can look, but you can't touch.
Right.
And they often have a very expensive taste. When I'm doing public speaking and I'm talking about, you know, if I had $100 and I gave it out to everybody, you'd probably get your Gemini who would go and get 20 things worth $5. You'd get, you know, and so on. But your Taurus is going to buy the one thing worth the $100.
Right. Right. So they're all about quality too.
They're big about quality.
Right. Right. Awesome. Okay. And so how is that going to be a conflict now with our 11s?
Well, often in that perspective, also Taurus make amazing cooks.
Mm-hmm.
Because in a medical astrology, they're sort of from here, right?
Yeah.
So with that, their palate can be very expensive. You know, they like their fineness of chocolates and their fineness of wines, but when they put together, if they're a cook or something, when they put together a plate, it's the vision of all of the perfect alignment and colors in a plate. So because they are an earth sign, earth is very much connected to our root vegetables and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Maybe their creative measure, as we talked about, the 11th is the double creativity. Can their creative measure come out in cooking somehow?
The other thing that comes up to me is that if I was an 11, I was hooked up with somebody who's an earth sign, Taurus, for example. No, yes, Taurus. It might be difficult because 11s have a very sensitive palate, right? Their whole systems are extremely sensitive. They're sensitive to food, to drugs, to alcohol, to anything. So they're not as quick to say, "Oh yeah, let's try that," sort of thing. So it sounds to me like their vision is quite different. The 11s are, I don't want to say they're intellectual, but I feel that the earth signs are more so.
Yeah, it's the air signs that's intellectual, but the earth signs, again, we come back to the practicality.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because if you and I, for instance, were talking about looking at a property, the Taurus in their mind is sort of thinking about, well, in that property, I might pay $100,000 now, but further down the road, if I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this, I could then sell that for $350, make $250. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And it's not just about the money, but Taurus is all about possessions.
Right. Right. And so their ability to manifest is good.
Yes.
Their ability to build something is good. I wonder if the 11s might struggle as an earth sign simply because they get very rapid fire inspiration. It's like, there it comes, right? It's divine inspiration like that. And they already have enough self-doubt, right? They don't feel that they're good enough. So for them to actually reach out and turn their ideas into something can be a problem, right?
And again, the idea is, you know, when you think about groundedness and feet on the ground,
right?
That's our feet.
Yeah.
You know, ideas often come from our head.
Yes.
One of these things is not like the other.
Right. Right. Exactly. But I can see that they would be even more stifled. They might be even more frustrated because the Taurus energy is kind of conflicting with the 11. The Taurus says, well, I can build it and I can build it now and I can build it strong. And the 11 is like, well, but what happened to the warm and fuzzy component that we're going to put into this? Where's the sensitivity come from? Where's the artistic form? And I know, I keep going back to 4s. I don't know. The Taurus just feels like a 4 to me.
It does feel like a 4. I agree.
It does. It absolutely does. So, but there's a part of practicality that the 11s just don't get, right? So that could be a bit of a struggle. But on the other side, I feel that a little bit of grounding energy can't hurt them either because
absolutely.
You know, the messages come through very quickly and they're like lightning bolts, and unless they touch the ground, they don't become anything. So a little bit of grounded energy is actually not going to be your nemesis. It's actually probably going to be your support.
And we often do find that the Taurus people work in the banking industry. That's often where we do find our Taurus managers are often bank managers.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if they're into the material world themselves, they've got to be able to see that vision for someone else.
Yep.
Be successful, you know, to be really good at what they do. So.
But can you imagine going to a Taurus bank manager? Say you're an 11, just an 11 outside here, coming with all this ideas, and they're just coming left, right, center, you know, because the 11s also, the 11s don't want to be stifled. I mean, you cannot be stifled and allow that energy to be coming through. And so you come in and you'd probably sit in front of this bank manager who now wants to see, you know, statements. He wants to see, you know, what your plan and your financial plan further down the road. So you can see even just say an 11 married to a Taurus.
Yeah. Well,
but I mean, depending on how that partnership, because we also know in partnerships, it's also sometimes very good to have our opposites because it keeps us in that state of balance, right?
I think so long as you can have somebody in your life who's supportive.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about 11s here. If the 11 is in a relationship with a Taurus, so long as that Taurus can feel secure enough to handle the energy of the 11 and doesn't stifle the 11 into feeling that they can't do anything.
Right.
You know, it's not the right thing to do. The 11s are very much about making sure that they're accepted and not rejected, and they want to be part of that team effort and such. But when they get really into a bad way, it's because someone has got their thumb on them, holding them back, or they've chosen to succumb to that. You know, they've chosen to forfeit their dreams in favor of somebody else's, in favor of doing the right thing, in favor of the conformity. So, yeah.
But it's also a bit difficult, and in defense of the Taurus here, it's also a bit difficult sometimes being around someone who has this idea come in and this idea, let's chase that dream and let's chase that dream and this dream, and without a bit of a plan. So if they work well as a partnership, what could happen is the 11 could be the idea generator.
Yeah.
And the Taurus, because Taurus sees processes, they have to.
And gives birth to the idea.
Yeah, they have to in order to provide that sense of security.
Right.
So that could actually work very well together if the partnership was open for that.
Right, and we have to look, and certainly numerologically, we have to look at the chart much deeper than just looking at a life path number.
Right, it's the same with astrology, right? Right,
so there's so many other components and variables. We can't just say because you're an 11 and because you're a Taurus, you know, never the twain shall meet or whatever.
That's right.
There's so many other elements that go into looking at a chart to see whether this is going to work or not. So.
And I think that was one of the comments we had from one of the previous videos.
Yeah.
Right, is, you know, just say for now we're talking Taurus. I'm a Taurus, so that's who I am. Well, you could have a chart. Your sun sign could be in a Taurus, but you could have tons of energy in Gemini. So you would be a lot more like Gemini. So it's difficult, just like in numerology, to just pin it down to one specific piece.
And I always feel badly. People ask me these really good questions, but without really looking at their charts, I really can't answer it. Right. So it's kind of a futile effort. Okay. So let's move on and talk about the Virgos. What's going on with the Virgos?
Well, of course, Virgo is also our Earth. Virgo is considered our mutable Earth. Okay. Virgo is always waiting for the best opportunity. So I would think the 11 energy and the Virgo energy, out of all the Earth signs, are probably a lot alike.
Okay.
When I'm doing public speaking, this is how I identify a Virgo. So a Virgo goes, oh, this is what I want in my life. Guaranteed this is what I want. Oh, it's coming now. Yes, here it is. Yes, it's getting closer. Yes, this is what I want. Yes. Anything else?
Yeah.
So they're always waiting for the best opportunity. Now, I would think from the 11 perspective, that would...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. The 11s are always waiting for something better because they feel that what they have isn't it.
So when I work with Virgos, I always say, you know what, you can change your mind at any point in time, but take this opportunity now. Right.
To act on it rather than, And then part of the problem is not everybody, but certainly the 11s, a lot of them will project too far into the future, always feeling that this can't be it. And it's kind of a mystery to me, you know, because it's like in relationships and in jobs and in whatever they pursue, it's almost like they'll sabotage it because they always feel there's something better coming along.
That's a Virgo trait.
Is it? Yeah. And they can't trust that maybe this is it. Maybe this is as good as it's going to get, you know? But I guess the reality is we have to make the best out of each day that we have because it's all we have, right? So projecting it into the distant future is useless.
And the other thing with Virgos, they worry about perfection.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's perfectionism for them and details, isn't it? They're really about the details.
They have the ability to do the attention to detail. They really do. but they constantly beat themselves up on the fact of, but is it perfect enough? So sometimes when I work with a Virgo, just to get them to take that first step, you know, lots of times, again, that creative side comes in, and, you know, I say, take that first step, allow yourself, go to paint night. You know what? And if your tree looks like a crooked branch, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I always say, paint outside the lines for once.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And so for the Virgos, I often actually suggest that they read the book by Dr. Brene Brown called The Gift of Imperfection. That is an amazing book.
Let's write that down.
Um,
Put that in the notes.
But while I think about it as well, we didn't pull a card for our Taurus, as I.
You're right, we didn't.
But anyway, coming back to our Virgos, they also can be our workaholics.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they, because they struggle with perfection or the idea of perfection, they often think I haven't worked enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they will be the person, you know, they might paint a picture and you look at the picture and you go, oh my God, that's gorgeous. And they say, yeah, but you know what? That's not the right pink. That's down there, right?
Yeah. I know. I use that analogy a lot. It's, you know, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. And if I think it's perfect, I guess I believe it's perfect. And that's my reality, right? Otherwise, if you feel there's something wrong with it, I guess that's your reality. But accepting that perfection really doesn't exist.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
So.
And so therefore, because of that, they often become self-sabotagers, which I think is an 11 energy, isn't it?
It is. It is. I mean, the 11s have signed a contract prior to coming that says, I'm going to do something quite amazing. I'm going to make a huge difference. So they're always, I think there's a part of them intuitively that knows, I got to get this right. You know, I've signed a big deal here. I have to get it right. And they're completely intimidated by the task itself. Mm-hmm. In some respects, the 22-4s are even more so intimidated by this whole prospect. But they feel that they can't be sure that whatever it is, they don't want to buy into anything 100%, because what happens if that's not it? And for them, it's all about time, right? The 11s know that time ticks on very quickly, because they've died, they've been born again, they've died, they've been born again. They've walked this planet many, many times. So they're very consciously aware of how fast time is ticking on and how little time they have.
Right.
So I can see where the frustration would come from with the Virgos. If they're so fickle with the details, they can't just let it go. You know, it's just.
And they are our most criticizing sign. They also can very much criticize other people around them, but they, more than anything else, will criticize self.
You know, we didn't provide them with the dates with regards to time. That's all right.
We haven't done a lot of things, have we?
No, we haven't, but that's all right. It's early yet.
Stopped retrograding. She's in her shadow, but she stopped retrograding. Who would have known?
Yeah, apparently we don't. We didn't get the memo.
That's right. So let's finish off with Virgo then, and we'll come back and finish up what we have to. So the date for Virgo is the 24th of August to the 23rd of September.
Okay.
So let me pull a card. I have started with pulling the cards. The one I'm working with today is called The Seeker's Guide to the Hidden Path.
Nice.
And I use these quite often. And so the tree in summer is the one that I have for Virgo. This is for Virgo. Okay. And so the tree in summer is a card that really is all about the beauty. It has blossomed. Mm-hmm. Allow that energy that you set the seeds of previously, allow it to blossom and to come out in bloom. To take your time and in the run of your day, notice the beauty that's around you, not what isn't right. You know? When you look at the tree, you're going to notice the beauty of the leaves and how the branches come out. You're not going to notice that little bit of moss that's hanging out on this inner side.
Do you think it has something to do with, as well as accepting that just because you have a harvest doesn't mean to say that that's the last harvest you're ever going to have?
Great analogy. Yeah. Right?
There's more beyond that tree.
Moment.
Right,
right
and cycles just repeat themselves, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. And to absolutely be grounded. That is more than anything else
Hmm.
huge for our earth signs. Make sure they are grounded.
Right, right, which is my message to the 11s all the time. Go get grounded. Go to your room, go get grounded. Are we going to pull a card and talk about the dates associated with Taurus?
Sure. So maybe you can pull the card for Taurus.
Yeah.
Taurus is the 21st of April to the 21st of May.
Okay.
That's our date for our Taurus friends. What deck are you using?
I'm going to be using the Feathered Omen deck.
Oh.
That's kind of scary, but it's really not. It's by Ted Andrews. God bless him. He's no longer with us, but he wrote some beautiful, beautiful things called Feathered Omens. These are messages from the birds, and everybody who knows me well knows I'm all about the birds. So let's see what the birds have to say. And we're pulling on behalf of, I'm sorry, the Virgos?
Taurus.
Taurus, sorry, Taurus. All right, what's the message for Taurus today? Card is migration. And it's all about time to make a move today, right? Get out of your own way and stop with the details, stop with procrastination, stop with, trying to change the perfection of the moment, and just go with it. Go with it.
And come out of your security zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
What's the worst can happen? Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote an amazing book called Excuses Be Gone.
Yeah, it's awesome, eh?
Me.
Yeah.
And, I often talk about that book with all of the earth signs because
you could have written that book. Who are we kidding?
they are grounded, feet on the ground, but they do the, what happens if scenario. Okay. And I say, you got what happens if happening in your head? Answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
Answer it. What happens if I don't get the house I want? Then you know what? You go for another house.
Yeah.
That's what happens if you're not going to die.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know if this is an earth thing, but being able to create dramas, inside their heads.
Yeah, that can certainly be any of them, but earth can certainly do that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And we talked about the dates. Okay, so let's move on to Capricorn. What can you tell us about Capricorn?
Capricorn.
It's dates for starters.
Yeah, the date for Capricorn is the 21st of December to the 20th of January.
Okay.
Capricorns are interesting people. They are probably the most difficult to understand in all of the earth because they are the business people. They run the world like a business. They run their heart like a business. And to them, when we talk about the practicality and the feet on the ground and so on, that is huge for Capricorn because, again, if it runs like a business, they want all their spreadsheets, they want all of their Excel spreadsheets to make sure that this all works and this all balances. That's a Capricorn mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I used to date a Capricorn years ago in high school. We went out together for quite a few years. And he was always, I would never back then have been able to articulate him as an old soul. That just wasn't part of my vocabulary back then. But when I think about it now, I remember he was very old fashioned, very old school morals and just everything, even the way he dressed. He was very conservative, kind of nerdy, but everything, he talked an awful lot about the future as in when I'm this old, this is what I'm going to be doing. Is that common to
it all planned out? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I won't be doing this, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And there's something about Capricorns. I really believe in past lifetimes, Capricorns had a huge connection to physical wood. There's something about Capricorns and wood. Just the smell of wood can turn them on.
Really?
Yeah. And you often see people in the carpentry trade actually are Capricorns.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So from an 11 perspective, if you have that Capricorn mindset, that's certainly the mindset from a business perspective. You got ideas. Now the Capricorn don't want 15 ideas. Right? They want one idea, and let's build on that idea. You know, they're very serious. They're ruled by the planet of Saturn, which is that structure. They want structure, right? Don't go giving me this all over the thing.
Mhm.
I want structure.
Are they somewhat black and white? Is that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. There's no gray in a Capricorn's life.
So I can see that as being a bit of a struggle too. I think you're absolutely right. The earth signs are definitely, the master 11s who are earth signs are struggling more than those with other element signs.
They certainly have different struggles, but the actual struggle, again, we come back to the idea of this new agey, because lots of times people think you can't do a business with the new age. And yet, you know, Anne and I have been out of the corporate world. I've been out for 18 years. So, you know, that's actually a myth.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But I can see where the 11 would run into a bit of a struggle with this, because the need to do the right thing, the need to be so fixed. Are they a fixed sign? I didn't check.
No, they're a cardinal sign.
The cardinal sign. Okay.
Cardinal, yeah, they're the Cardinal Earth. So they are the leaders. I mean, they really are the leaders of the pack. But they, you know, they run the show in many ways. It is life according to the Capricorn. But remember, way back, I had talked about a Capricorn friend who had gone to the medium, you know, and again, because it's not black and white, somehow or other, they have a bit of a hard time computing that.
Right.
Everything in their world runs on a business, you know, mindset, right?
So as the 11s are tuning into energies, tuning into ghosts and spirits and angels and messages and all this, you know, their ability to communicate on a very high vibration and whatnot, the earth sign is just not going to get that.
They're going to really struggle with it, and it's such a shame because you know, they are just as intuitive. The earth signs are just as intuitive as any of the other signs, but it's not practical to believe in reincarnation. It's not practical to believe that there are ghosts walking the earth plane, and you know, that's not a practical thing to believe. That's in their mind. It's a little bit airy fairy out there, and okay, so you know, there's a ghost. Have you seen a ghost? You know, that would be their mindset, right?
Right. So, I mean, I was married to a Sagittarian for quite a long time who had a fear of not having enough money, and always putting the pressure on me to have that corporate job, right? And it took quite a long time, as you know, for me to break free of that. But when I think about, what I'm thinking about as we're talking here, I'm thinking about relationships. I'm like, no, it's the relationship between the master number 11 and themselves as an earth sign.
That's right.
So the struggle, it's almost like there's, you know, balance that they're trying to strike, and 11s are always trying to fight for balance, right? But the 11 at the end of the day knows they need to create something, knows that they have to invent something, knows that they have to create something that has not been created before. If you don't know that, 11s, that is what's supposed to be going on. You never incarnated to copy somebody else. You incarnated to create something, right? But it is if I'm understanding this correctly, from the earth perspective, somebody with an earth sign, the struggle would be, but I have to see it. I have to believe it. I have to see it before I can actually.
Is it real?
And the 11 energy says you just have to trust, right? You just have to trust and surrender and have faith that this is all.
And you know, so when I work again with the earth signs, and you know, is it real? I say to them, do you feel love? Do you know, have you felt love? Yes. Can you see it? Where is it? Show it to me.
Right.
Have you felt anger? Yeah. Show it to me. Pass it to me right here on the hand. What is that? You know?
Yeah.
So sometimes I think we have to look at changing the definition of reality.
Okay.
So reality, before coming to see anybody in the New Age world, you know, our earth sign friends, reality is what I can see. It's see, feel, taste, you know, it's the 5 senses.
Okay, so I was thinking perspective was the word I was going to use.
And you know, so it reminds me of the book by Gary Zukav called The Seat of the Soul, where he talked about the 5 senses and the importance of stepping outside of that there is a whole nother world going on over here. And one of the best things that's happening now, of course, is quantum physics is actually, you know, starting to play in our world with all of that whole bit about the physicality is not connected to just the 5 senses.
Right.
And the importance of understanding that. So for our Earth friends, maybe you'd like to just check a little bit into quantum physics. And even though quantum physics can't physically see necessarily energy, they have developed machinery to actually be able to record and see the shifts and changes in the energy.
And again, I go back to the 4 energy, because the Earths just feel 4 to me. It really relates back to focus and how much you're willing to stretch your focus and stretch your perspective and allow different things to come in. So, you know, if you believe that life is hard, I guess life is hard, because that's your choice and that's what you believe. You know, if you believe things are easy, I guess that's what it is. Right? So you have the power. You always have the power to change your perspective. So I'm thinking about the duality of an Earth sign being an 11, blended together. You've got one side that wants peace and harmony and connections to the other side and all that good stuff, and then you got the other guy that just wants to build a house and have security and all that. So how do you blend the two? How do you make the two work together cohesively? I would think it's about changing your perspective on things.
Well, I would think it is, but also the fact of, you know, the Capricorn is going to generally build not an 11 Capricorn, just regular Capricorn, we'll say. It's going to build a normal house.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Somebody with the 11 energy is probably going to creatively and want to build a house that probably comes up and goes over to the side and comes this way and goes over to that side.
More artistic.
Yeah, the whole, and lots of wood for sure, because that's the Capricorn mindset. Allow oneself to do that.
Right, exactly. Well, this has been fascinating. I think it's we've definitely covered an awful lot to help the Earth signs to understand a little bit more about themselves and their unique little quirks and challenges.
And so I've actually just pulled a card.
Yeah, good.
For the Capricorn, so that we won't forget it.
Because I was just about to. So I'm glad you caught that. Man, it's gonna be a long day.
It is, and it's a full day for me.
Likewise.
Anyway, the card I pulled, which is very interesting, is the card called Drawing Down of the Moon.
Drawing down of the moon, okay.
And that is becoming enveloped in the energy of the universe. To step outside of those 5 senses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, drawing down the energy of the moon. If you ever stood outside in a full moon night and just felt the energy. You can't see it. Yeah. You see the moon up there, and you can see know how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why they asked about the drawing down of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
It's about allowing you to step outside of those 5 senses.
Wow.
You want to pull one there as well?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I can do that.
I think out of all of the 3, I think it's the Capricorn that's probably going to struggle the most.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you say, with the 11 and
Absolutely. Yeah. Is that
because they rule their heart like a business, right?
exactly? And the 11s are just such sensitive creatures. They're really, really sensitive creatures. And they have this real need to get things right, but they also have a need to have their heart and soul into whatever it is they do. And I'm not saying that's not true of the Capricorns. I'm sure it probably is too, but in an entirely different way.
That's right.
Right?
But can you imagine just melding, just the idea of melding that 2 energies? What a magnificent combination that would be.
I often see somebody who has an 11 life path number with a 22-4 expression number. So the life path number is your lessons. Your expression number brings in your gifts and your talents. So I get really excited when I see this, because you got the 11 with the ideas, and you got the 22-4 who can actually turn it into something, right?
Amazing.
It's pretty cool. So this card on behalf of the Capricorns is called Hunting. Pursue what you need.
Aha.
Right?
Yep.
Pursue what you need. Isn't it interesting that the tree is there, of course?
For the wood. Yep.
And you're bringing something to the tree.
Right.
Not just relying entirely on the tree, but you're also bringing something. You're not afraid to fly. You're not afraid to spread your wings and add to it. So I see a lot of flexibility and that's what I'm looking for.
Well, the building, the creation.
Collaborative.
Creation, right?
Yeah, that you're a part of it, I guess. Is the thing
and even in the duality there of, you know, the 1 and 1 in the 11, you now have the tree and you have the bird.
Right.
And really, together, they are creating, because the bird can't build a nest if it doesn't have the tree.
Right.
The tree
Exactly.
can't have a nest if the bird doesn't create it.
Right.
Right?
So it's cohesion between ourselves and spirit.
Yes.
Right?
Very much so.
That we're kind of co-creating.
Yeah.
Right?
Kind of like you and I here.
That's it. That's it. So we're going to call these co-creations rather than collaborations.
That's right. Exactly.
Because that's what we can do.
Because we can.
Because we can. So you offer all kinds of nice services that can really help out our viewers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, every day I write in my Holly Poole Astrology Facebook page, so I invite people to go there. On Mondays, I step into what I call the Musing Monday, so I step outside of astrology, and I do something connected with the energy world. Then I offer private readings, so my astrology readings, and I do tarot readings. I do children's astrology chart as well. So all of that can be found on my website, which is www.hollypoole.com, and that's a pool with an E, by the way, P-O-O-L-E.
Perfect. And these readings can be done live over Zoom, Skype, phone.
All over the world.
Yeah, and she records them as well. So you always have a recording and a written chart when you're done. So that's awesome. Having experienced that many times before, I can attest to the fact that your life will never be the same. After you've had the...
Good or bad.
No, it's all good. And of course, I'm Ann Perry, Numerologist, and you can check me out at annperrynumerologist.com. I have a very active Facebook page as well. Probably a little bit even more active over on YouTube. So check me out there. If you're checking me out there now, that's good. Make sure that you like the video, that you share it. Don't forget to hit the little notification bell so you'll be notified when more things come up. So thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate you coming out. Thanks, Holly. Really appreciate you being
here. It's always fun.
Next week, we're going to be talking about the water signs. I know a lot of people are chomping at the bit for that one.
Well, I would think that the 11s and the water will go very, very well together.
Yeah, and I know you've said right all along that you couldn't wait to get to the water signs to talk about that. So that should be a powerhouse day. So we'll have that published for you. We'll tape on the 24th. It'll be available for you on the 25th of April. So be sure to check back.
Excellent.
Thanks, everybody. You have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.